I may be biased, but I think we have the best neighbors ever. Our neighbor to the east of us came out and plowed the garden, and then he said next weekend he would bring something else over. I don't really know what it's called. It's a spiky thingamabob, and it was gonna level it out a little bit. And so we were gonna wait on him to do that, but he ended up doing that the same night and came over and went over it with that. Well, then we were outside playing with the boys, and our neighbor to the west of us said that he could make it even better and put on his tiller on the back of his tractor and do this. So this is the best our garden has looked. This will be our 3rd year doing a garden, and this is the best it has looked. We did it with a tiller the first 2 years, and last year our tiller broke, so we had to borrow one to finish it up. We're still dealing with really bad wind out here, but this dirt is so soft and it goes down so deep. It's just really good dirt, and this is at the edge where it hasn't hardly been done very much. There's still a lot of dry grass and stuff in there. As he was plowing, he hit something and hit a rock, so he started digging it up, and this is how many rocks we ended up pulling out of that area where he hit. So here's the whole garden after it's been plowed and tilled here. And we brought it out a little further. There's my tomato cages. Out that way. And a little further out there, and then we might hit right there with a tiller and possibly move the strawberries altogether. But when I was a kid, my grandpa had a small garden here, and he had a bigger garden before that, but this is what he used when he wasn't able to get around as much. He had a smaller garden up here. When I was a kid though, this entire field was a garden, and we would plant potatoes with him and pick the beans, and I would love to have a garden out there, but the problem now is that it floods out this direction and comes from both the east and west, because that's the creek bed there that will flood. I thought that this was a brilliant idea to put the strawberries in here when I needed to move them real quick. And then I realized that that hot metal may fry them in the summer. So they'll probably need moved at some point. And this was the shovel that he tried to dig out the rocks with originally, because we thought it was just one rock. This tree stump has been used for flowers, but it needs more dirt in there still. And I don't know if we'll be planting many flowers this year and just focusing on the garden. And over here, I am trying for the first year to grow some lettuce, some onions from seed I've never done before, some cooler weather stuff because it is really shaded. It does need watered again, but some stuff is sprouting, but we have some really cold nights ahead. There's some there. And I wasn't very smart and didn't label what I planted where. I have that problem a lot. And we planted these bushes last year. They're just little twigs still. They're growing really well here, except for there's a couple that have been broken off. And so I put cages around them. And this is something I dug up from a little lilac bush that needs trimmed up or cleaned up yet still this year. This is my helper everywhere I go. And this is what I planted my potatoes in to try for the first time in these buckets. So I've got 2 of them filled. That one's still empty, and that one there. And I planted potatoes the first year doing a garden, and I hated digging them up. When I was a kid, Grandpa planted them out here, but we had a tractor and went behind, and we rode with our buckets behind planting the potatoes. But I don't ever remember having to dig them up, and I hate digging up potatoes. So I will put a few in the garden, but for the most part, I'm gonna try to grow them in those buckets. And this mess here is where I planted a bunch of marigolds, but also tomato plants came up as volunteers. But over here I tossed my old winter onions, and so I do have them growing nicely now. I didn't use them very much last year. Now I have 3 helpers. I am really ready to be in the garden working and planting, but we still have cold weather coming. So for now, I will have to wait and see. This is our rabbit cage, and this weekend is an auction, and I will be taking all but 4 of the rabbits to auction. So I've got to get busy tonight and get cages ready, and then I'll take them in on Saturday. But if we did everything right, this is our first time, we will have baby bunnies, and they would be due right on Easter morning. This is the 2 that we bred, and hopefully she will be having her babies. Mike made this mama box here, and I just put some hay in there, and we just got that put in today. This guy is my favorite. He's a sweet boy. And this guy here is the most evil rabbit of all time. So hopefully a week from today, I will have a lot less rabbits to have to take care of. This is coming out on Easter Sunday, and we've spent a lot of time this week teaching Aaron about Jesus dying on the cross and coming back out of the empty tomb. And as I've reflected this week, I found myself thinking a lot about Mary. And I know that Jesus went through so much suffering and so much pain for each and every one of us, and he died for all of our sins. But I've thought a lot about Mary this week, and as she had to sit there and watch her son up on that cross, and what that had to have been like for her. But then I'm reminded that he is risen.